So it's been a couple of weeks since my last iFLY 737 MAX8 video, and I wanted to continue from where we left part 1, where we covered the startup procedure from cold and dark, and I will put a link to that video below so you can check that out. And today then, we are back at London Gatwick, pushback is complete, and we're going to be looking at our departure from taxi and takeoff through to our climb. And for full disclosure, I did want to publish this a bit sooner to be honest, but I was having some real trouble with my hardware working correctly with the MAX8 to the point of it being virtually uncontrollable. But since then, iFLY have now fully launched version 1.0, so we are out of the alpha build, and it seems, touch wood, that everything is working correctly now. So let's hop inside and start our taxi. Okay, so just before we start, I've got a couple more checks to complete. We need to set our flaps for takeoff, which is flaps 5. So we will go flaps 5, check. We need to set our auto brake to RCO for takeoff, so that's set. And finally we need to do some flight control surfaces checks. So we click the system button here, and we will go full forward on our yoke, and we will go back to neutral, and then full back, and back to neutral, and we'll go full right, and back to neutral, and full left. And we will do a couple of pumps on our rudder pedals, and left, and back to neutral. So that is our flight control surfaces checked. Okay, we are about ready for taxi then, so we will release our parking brake, and I will give it a little bit of throttle just to get us moving. And here we go. And we've got our airport map on the EFB, so we can follow our taxi route out to runway 26 left. And I think what I'll do is break off now, and we'll catch up again as I approach the hold short for our runway, and then we'll go through a few final checks before we line up. So I will catch up with you again very soon. So here we are approaching our hold short for runway 26 left, so I'll bring it to a stop there, and we'll hop outside and just roll forward a touch more, just to the stop bar, and then we'll bring it to a halt. So that'll do nicely, and we will go overhead and turn our landing lights on, and our runway turn off lights can go on, taxi lights off, and engine starter modes to continuous, and our strobes can also go on. And we'll give the cabin crew a quick bong as well. There we go. Oh, my hydraulics are not switched on, so we'll switch the hydraulics on. Pretend you haven't seen that. That's why we check everything thoroughly. Okay, everything else looks pretty good overhead. So we can set our TCAS to TARA, which is just down here in the transponder. So TARA, there we go. And we can also pop traffic mode on our nav display. Okay, let's line up then. So we're all clear to the right then, and there is nothing on short final, so we're all good to line up. And the MAX8 will taxi quite nicely on idle. If you want to get it moving a bit more quickly, we can add a little bit of throttle, but we'll just carry on idle for a moment.
Approaching 26 left.
And that is the RAS function which is available in the iFLY, which is absolutely superb. So it gives you some announcements as you approach runways. It'll also give you a call out if you're approaching the end of the runway, things like that. So yeah, very very handy feature. It's also another level of immersion, as it's a function that real world operators do use. So yeah, very cool feature.
On runway 26 left.
And right on cue, there it is again, just letting us know we're on the correct runway. So let's bring it to a halt just about there. It's sort of lined up fairly well, so we'll stop there. And that is a superb looking plane as well. Right, let's do it. So we're going to hold it on the brakes, and we're going to go 40% thrust, and just keep holding it. And I'm going to manually set the takeoff thrust today. I'm not going to use toga, so let's advance the throttle levers. So takeoff thrust set, and we will release the brakes, and we are away. Downward nose wheel pressure on the yoke until we get to 80 knots, just keeping us nice and tight on that centre line as well. And that's 80 knots, so I'll release the downward pressure, so we have rudder authority. And those engine sounds are absolutely fantastic. And V1 rotate, keeping a nice smooth 10-degree pitch, and a positive rate of climb gear up. and we'll just pitch the nose down a touch so we can follow those flight directors. Just keep hand flying this part of the departure, and I've got to say this is feeling so much better than the alpha build for me. I can actually control the plane, so we're through 1,000 feet. Let's get our autopilot on. So CMDA engaged, we've got LNAV and VNAV, and we've got N1 thrust for our climb. So let's hop outside and take a look. Look at that. Gatwick drops away behind us. That is a textbook departure. Happy with that. Absolutely stunning. And I'll let you guys just listen to those engines. Okay, so we're just starting our turn in right now to follow our SID, so let's start retracting some flaps. So we'll go flaps up, and that's actually following the flight path really nicely, so we're good on our speed at the moment. So let's just double check our first couple of constraints. We need to be at or above 3,200 feet by DET31, climbing to 4,000, and we are already through 3,900 feet, and we have FMC speed and LNAV path on the PFD, so that is all bang on. And let's go overhead and switch off our runway turn-off lights, and we can switch our engine starter modes to off. And after spending so many hours flying the PMDG 737-800, I do love the way the MAX8 feels so familiar, but with the added visuals of these massive displays, it really is a fantastic looking flight deck, I think. Love it. And you can tell I've been spending too much time flying the A380. I've forgotten to align my heading bolt, so let's keep that aligned. Very important in the Boeings, so let's just keep turning that around until it matches our current course, which is 078 degrees. So there we go. Right, so we're just passing over our next waypoint, so let's take a closer look at the nav display. And for our next constraint we need to be 250 knots at 4,000 feet, which is looking correct, so it's going to respect that before continuing up to 6,000 feet, which was our initial climb altitude. Okay, and let's just wind our range out to 20 miles, and we can see our next waypoint at the top of the nav display there, which is Acorn, which is where we need to be at 6,000. And we're all done with our EFB now, and there is actually a click spot here on the screw where you can hide it, so if you want to enjoy a bit more sightseeing, you can get rid of that and enjoy this absolutely brilliant simulator. Right, so we've still got 6,000 feet set in the window, and actually our next constraint at Acorn we need to be at 5,000 feet, and as you can see we're just starting to level off now, so it is going to respect that 5,000 feet constraint. And still maintaining that 250 knots as well as we approach that 5,000 feet. Let's have a little hop over to the first officer's side and just check out his perspective of things. Looks really cool. Bit of low level cloud cover. I'm going to say they're cirrus, I guess, but no major weather around. All looking pretty calm out there. And if you've ever flown in the UK, that is a pretty good representation of what it's like, flying over all the little villages and farmland. Very cool. Okay, so we're about to pass through our Acorn waypoint, and once we're through that, the plane will start its climb up to 6,000 feet to MIMFO. So there we go, down comes the green banana, and we need to be 250 knots at 6,000, so that is all looking fine. We're already starting to level off. We're through 5,500 feet and maintaining that 250 knots as well. and that will complete our SID once we get to MINFO, and then we can begin our climb up to our cruise. Now we've actually ever so slightly overshot that 6,000 feet there, but that's fine, the plane will level that out. That's looking good. So let's wind in our cruise altitude, which is flight level 230. So we'll just wind that all the way in. Come on, up we go. 15,000, 20, and 23 set. And if we take a look at the PFD, we've got 23,000 feet set. So as we pass over MINFO at 6,000, the plane will automatically start our climb up to our cruise altitude. So here we are, passing over MINFO now. I'm just going to wait for that waypoint to turn white, and then the plane will begin its climb up to 23,000 feet. So just a couple of seconds. So there we go, we are now over MINFO, and if we take a look at the PFD, you can see we're beginning to climb now. And we've got N1 thrust and VNAV speed engaged as well, so that's all fine. Quick glance at the FMC, so we're going to make our next waypoint at 22,000, that's all good. And we can now switch to standard pressure as well. So that is our SID pretty much complete. We're well on our way to our cruise, and as we approach 10,000 feet we can go overhead and start switching off some lights. So we will turn our landing lights off, and we will also switch our seatbelt signs off, let the kids in the back stand up. There we go. So I think I will wrap it up there for today, guys. That concludes my takeoff and departure guide for the iFLY 737 MAX8 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Be sure to join me for part 3, where we'll continue our descent, approach and landing down into Dubrovnik. But that's all for today. If you did enjoy the video, give it a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.